Alrighty, we are out here in the garden. I just finished watering. I was recycling my bath water, which had Epsom salts. Every tree that we have, besides the kumquat, actually really likes Epsom salts. It's really important to know if you're going to try. Oh, look at that. Welcome, bees. It's really important to know if you're going to try to recycle bath water with Epsom salts, whether or not your plants actually like Epsom salts. So, where I come from in Alaska, people do use their gray water, and actually Hawaiians do as well. You just want to make sure that there's no harsh chemicals in there. That's really important. So out here you can see our tomatoes are doing pretty well that we transplanted. I put some Thai holy basil out here, and that is struggling a little bit. It might not be quite hardened off enough, so be mindful of doing a good job of hardening stuff off. Tomatoes really, really like the sun. Here's our little Stella cherry tree, waiting for it to wake up. It's got a lot of buds on it. Maybe we'll actually get some cherries this year. A couple would be nice just to see what they're going to taste like, right? Our pomegranates are waking up. These actually leaf out long before they put on any fruit. Little bougainvillea over here. Bougainvilleas for sure love Epsom salts. In fact, if your bougainvillea leaves start looking a little yellow, this one's just waking up. Put a little Epsom salts water on it. I mean, not too strong, right? But put a little on it. We already got a critter over here. Gonna have to put the orchard spray on this here soon, right? Pomegranates do pretty well though. The only thing is just making sure the leaf-footed beetles don't attack your pomegranates, right? And my husband got more netting on here for me this morning, which is super nice of him. Got a rose back here. It's a climbing rose. My friend Julie gave me this. And it will put on some really pretty, sorry, I'm getting messages from people. It'll put on some really pretty red roses. We got our compost bins over here. And if you're wondering, this one is not my favorite. It does work. That one's my favorite. It's a little more heavy duty and it holds up better with the heat. And both of these were purchased on Amazon. I've had them for a few years now, so I don't know what the price is for those anymore, but if you're looking to start composting, granted you're only going to get a small amount of compost, but every little bit helps, right? So you can see our almond tree is starting to put some almonds on. They're little tiny guys. The quail didn't quite get them all. Boy, he sure had a big mouthful. I think he was on that branch right there, so if there was one on that branch, he got it. I think I was watching this gal on Squirrel Tribe. It's one of my channels that I like, female, that talks about current events, and she was saying that she puts hers on Do Not Disturb. So I think I might try that the next time I do a live just to see if that stops it from pinging. I always thought that Do Not Disturb would affect my ability to be on the internet, but apparently it doesn't. So we're going to try that next time. But you can see these lemons are buds. Sorry, I can't talk today. Lemon buds are ready to open. It's going to be any time now, which is really good timing. And it's covered with lemon buds. It's really good timing because we had a lot of really high wind here recently, and it would not have been a good time for this lemon tree to open its buds because they would have fallen with the wind, right? We really need these flowers on these trees in order for the bees to come over and pollinate and for them to set fruit. Look at these, they're so pretty and purple before they open. These ones are so close. I think these are going to be the first ones right in this area here. And they're on the side that gets the direct sun. Look at all that. Thank you. And the cactus is waking up. It's got some buds on it, or whatever you want to call that. I'm not sure, actually. We'll find out, right? This is a mandarin. This thing hasn't fruited for us yet. We've had it for quite a while. Maybe this will be the year. I don't know. Anybody know anything about mandarins? And this apple wakes up late. It's a delicious apple. Last year we actually got about 4 apples on this tree. It was the first time it fruited, and they were little baby ones. And so I'm kind of excited to see what this might do this year for us. This over here is our dwarf ruby red grapefruit. It hasn't flowered yet, but it's waking up and putting on some new leaves. This is our Anna apple, and this Anna apple is already putting on apples. They're tiny, tiny right now. They're going to grow pretty fast. I think probably like by May or June we'll be able to start getting some, probably closer to June. May's probably a little too soon, although if it does put on heavily, we will start harvesting some small ones just so that the tree doesn't get overwhelmed with a lot of fruit and the heat, right? It's still actually blooming. A couple blooms here. And I found my first squash bug of the year. It was on this net, and so I put some leather gloves on and I smacked it together pretty hard to kill it. It was funny, it was encumbered by the net. It couldn't get through the net. I mean, it was on the way of crawling through it. I found that entertaining. Squash bugs are one of our nemesis here in the desert. Over here we have our plants that we've had in the grow room growing. They're hardening off. So we have two different types of eggplant here. We have some tomatoes, and we have some amaranth, and we have some Thai holy basil. We have a bunch of seedlings coming up here. We have some sunflowers, some basil, some other herbs. And here we have some calendula, some kohlrabi, and some beets. Here we have some chamomile. We have some honey nut squash, some tomatillos, and some cucumbers. And actually I have more cucumber seeds planted in there and honey nut squash. Back here we have some other herbs along with pumpkins and watermelons, acorn squash, spaghetti squash, some more peppers. Here we have some quinoa. And our quinoa in the garden bed that we already transplanted is doing well, so that's great. And these are a couple of our zucchinis. These are going to be the first ones that I put outside. And some borage. Borage is a great companion plant for zucchini. And the leaves kind of have a cucumber taste, so you could actually flavor water with those. And you can eat the leaves and you can eat the flowers. So sometimes I chop up those leaves really finely and put them in a salad. Here's our kumquat. It's just starting to wake up. It hasn't flowered yet. Let's take a look at our quinoa that we transplanted. It's actually doing good out here. And this is just to keep the quail from eating it, because last year my little buddies, the quail, made short work of my quinoa. I got one plant to survive, and that's the motivation for those. Some fennel growing, some parsley. I saw the quail over here yesterday morning, so I wasn't sure if they were trying to get anything or not. Some cilantro, and I think that's some more cilantro coming up over there. This is clary sage. This actually made it all the way through the winter. It stayed green, so in our climate it's kind of evergreen. And we have some more fennel that's going to come up, onion. This is the asparagus that's slowly been waking up and sitting up. A little shoot, see that right there? It's new asparagus. And this is some Thai holy basil. It hasn't really seemed to like this container that much. Basil is a companion plant, so I'm trying to figure out whether or not I'm underwatering or overwatering it. We'll see. Only time will tell, right? It's good that I started a lot of that because I'm going to have it in different places. That seems to be a little more sensitive with me transplanting it. These are some onions that are these onions? No, these are actually garlic. I have a lot of garlic along here because this garlic actually repels squash bugs. I didn't have any problems with squash bugs in the garden until I harvested the garlic last year. This is a horseradish, and actually that soil feels a little wet, so I'm not sure if it's going to be that happy. I might have to move it over into this container possibly and think about what I can grow in this. See if I can crank this down. Oh no, it's actually cranked down quite a bit, so I'll think about that. It's probably getting some water from the sprayers too. So something that really likes water is going to need to be in that, and I'm going to need to move that horseradish. We have some yarrow. Yarrow is a really awesome medicinal herb. If you're not familiar with it, look it up. Some more quinoa. I'm planning to plant the rest of that quinoa in here. And I didn't really find a whole lot of companion plants for quinoa. I read corn, and I don't really think I have enough room here for corn. Green beans. I have some green bean seeds that I started over on the other side that haven't come up yet. So when those come up, I'll probably transplant the remainder of the quinoa into this bed along with the green beans. And in this pot, I'm pretty sure this is some feverfew that's coming up over here. There we go. That's come back 2 years in a row now, so I'm really hopeful that it will come back again. You can just barely see it in this pot. And there's some more cilantro over here, so that's interesting. And over here is our stinging nettle. You see I have these nuts haphazardly everywhere, right? Because you never know when you're going to have to like throw something over a pot to protect it from a bird or a critter. Let's take a look over here. There's a few things we didn't look at. Our fig is waking up. We've managed to cram a lot into this yard. This isn't a very big yard, but what we have here is almost everything we planted is self-pollinating, and a lot of what we planted is dwarf. And the other thing is you can prune your trees. You just have to make sure you understand how to prune them. And so you don't have to let them get giant, right? So like this fig right here could actually get 15 feet wide and 15 feet tall, but we prune it. And they say you don't want to prune more than a third of it back a year, but this is actually starting to put figs on, which is pretty cool. And these leaves, you can use these in cooking. Now, if you're gonna put these in a stir fry, I would say chop them really fine and get them while they're young, right? But mostly what I've used them for is tea. They make great tea. I combine it with my other teas in a French press. And the other thing you can use these leaves for once they're large is you can actually wrap food in it when you're grilling it. So that's a consideration. Firebell here, it's not edible, but the birds like it. This is our pistachio. It hasn't woken up. This is the one tree that we have that you actually have to have a male and a female. Over here we have another fig and a grapefruit that came from our dwarf grapefruit. It reseeded and I thought, you know what, I'm going to plant that someplace. And a bird of paradise, some garlic. Last year our pumpkins did really well right here, and I'm actually planning to expand this area back here to have some more pumpkins. In the past, spaghetti squash has done really well in this spot too. And in the past, watermelon's done really well over here. So that's kind of what I'm planning to do. These are some paddle cactus as well as some rose bushes. And the rose bushes, of course, they're beautiful, but their flowers make fabulous tea if you dehydrate them. So just a little pointer there for anybody that wonders about another purpose. I tried making the rose petal jam and I didn't really care for it that much. Granted, I only tried making it once. I probably need to try more than one recipe. You can see our apricot is setting on. And it's hard for me to see now because the sunlight is so bright, but it's setting on apricots. And because of this borer situation we have with this tree, it's hard to say what's going to happen with this tree. I'm not really expecting it to survive that long. This thing was so beautiful. It was covered with blooms, and it's almost like it's reproducing because it knows it's not doing well. And you can see that sap down there. That is a sign of an active borer infestation. And so we have been treating this for borers, and sadly we have not been able to kill those buggers. And I can kind of see that it's advanced into other parts of the tree. Sad to say. Maybe we'll be so lucky. It's our little fire pit. We'll be so lucky as to have these cuttings that I have in here actually take off. They look all right. They haven't molded. They haven't gotten really skinny. So it's possible that these could actually make it. So here's one that I've had in here for a while now. Here's a fig that I did a cutting of that's rooting. You can tell it's rooting because look, it's actually getting green on it, right? That's a really good sign here. And I have two other cuttings that I've made of both the figs and the apricot because I wanted another fig for myself and I want to keep trying on the apricot, right? So these are cuttings that were actually starting to leaf out, and I've dipped them with a rooting powder and I put them in moist soil. And this grow room stays pretty humid. Right now it's only 47% because I had the door open. It actually gets a little too humid sometimes. So I opened the door a little bit to control it, but I have to keep an eye on everything now that these squash bugs have showed up. I've got some zucchini up here. We'll see. I don't know that zucchini really likes this room that much, but it was a great place to start them because they got pretty big in the space. I have a lot of radishes, Swiss chard, and beets. Lettuces or strawberries are doing really good. They seem to be pretty happy in here. Now, granted, I put a lot more seed out here than I have strawberries, but the cool thing about strawberries is they will send out runners, and you can actually transplant the runners and it'll grow new plants. And an important thing to know about strawberries is when you want them to produce fruit, and it usually takes quite a while for these. You can see they're tiny when they first come up. When you want them to produce fruit, you actually have to cut the runners off because otherwise they'll put their energy into making new plants, right? And down here we have some cauliflower, some New Zealand spinach, more radishes. You want to keep seeding your radishes, and some kale and whatnot back here. Over here we have some lettuces. We harvest those pretty regularly. Salad fans. I need to get more salad going once I have all these things transplanted, and it gives me more room for more stuff that I want to grow in here. And these are some eggplants, which if I would have been thinking, I would have put them outside to harden them off today, right? Oh, well, there's always tomorrow. And we have sweet potatoes vining to the ceiling, and peppers and tomatoes back over here. And the original tomatoes that I put in here are kind of at the end of their lifespan, but there's a few tomatoes set on them, so we're not actually going to take those off until they're ripe. You always want to be seeding your tomatoes so you keep having a supply of tomatoes. I kind of got a little behind on that, but soon we're going to have more. We've got some blooms back there that are starting to make some. That's pretty much our garden update. The peppers have really thrived. They're doing fabulous. Well, appreciate you tuning in today. Thanks for watching and have a blessed day.